back in the studio. The studio would be the BankPlus studio. And you can watch us live on the webcam. Welcome in. Good morning. The Out of Bounds Show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone, powered by C Spire's iPhone 7 on their max range LTE network. And that would be cspire.com. Twitter handle, at BoBounds and at Y'all Lifestyle. And we have a new number today. The other number, 601-707-3750. I've got Jackson and Drew with me, and Jackson's ready to rock and roll. I mean, he's locked in. We're streaming on the zone1059.com, and you can download the Out of Bounds radio app, and you can listen live or you can watch the show on the webcam. You can also do that on our Facebook page. We have the video link on our Facebook page, the Out of Bounds Show, so that you can see this cool set. And I have a picture of our future, or our president-elect, over my left shoulder, right? Which, if you're looking in the cameras, will be on your right. Is that fair? Cool. We had a great time at Logan Farms Honey Glazed Hams Market Cafe yesterday. Want to thank Ryan and Doug for hosting us. We gave away 3 diamond cards, so 3 listeners will be able to redeem that, pick out a gourmet meat, and they'll be all excited. That was fun. We'll have a giveaway tomorrow, brought to you by the College Corner Store. It's going to be chilly in Stark Vegas this weekend. If you see on our Twitter timeline, the College Corner Store just tweeted us. And Scott and the team doing a super job with all the Hail State and Hotty Toddy gear they have there and tailgating accessories. So going to be a little chilly in Stark Vegas Saturday night. And he says, I got plenty of jackets, hats, and blankets to keep you warm. And you found that at the College Corner Store, Trace Station, Ridgeland. And we'll be giving away some really, really cool stuff tomorrow. We have so much to give away between now and Christmas. It's going to be awesome. Maybe even some Kenny Chesney tickets as part of the C Spire concert in May. That'd be another great Christmas present, is Kenny Chesney. That's a top 5 guy right now, man. They went out and landed he's a top 5 entertainer in the country, actually in the world. So you know you're not messing around when you go and grab Kenny Chesney, which we should. That we should have the top entertainers in the world in Mississippi, and we should expect that. It's great to have a company that's committed to live music because of everything that's happened out of the Delta and some other spots in the state with the rich history that this state has produced, like BB and Elvis and Robert Johnson and Muddy Waters. Let's get into it. Guys, I've been in this business for, it'll be 20 years next year. And now I got my first paycheck in sports at 15. Most of my guys, 99% of my guys, have never been paid to do anything sports-wise. Their CPAs or their architects or their sales dudes, physicians, and they may own a plumbing company or something like that, which are all great and wonderful jobs. They may be a high school principal. But for most of them, sports, as I've talked about for years, is an expense. Like for you two, you have now been paid in sports. Most of your friends have never been paid in sports. It's an expense to go to an Ole Miss game, Mississippi State game, right, Saints game. We want to go to a golf tournament. We want to go to a tennis tournament. We want to go to an NFL game. I was looking on Facebook. A family from here went up to see the Steelers play. That's an expense. You get everybody on the plane. You get tickets. You go to Heinz Field, hotel.
A hefty expense.
Yeah, that is. But that's a great road trip, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so as a kid, I got to go to the Final Four and the Super Bowl and all sorts of things like that. But starting at 15, I started umpiring baseball. Ended up umpiring like 600 games all the way up to high school. And was doing select baseball and called, guys that went on to play in the major leagues. I didn't know then they were, but I knew they were throwing fast when I was calling it behind the plate. When somebody's throwing 91 miles per hour, you're like, okay, if the catcher misses it, this could be It's going to be ugly. Or, foul tip at a 92-mile-per-hour fastball and it catches you in the collarbone. It's a good way to break your knees down and let you hit the dirt. But been paid since I was 15, but this is what I do for a living. So it's different than my friends who, if I'm in Starkville and Oxford, for them it's an expense, right? For us, it's our job.
Right.
Okay, so since all that happened and almost 14 years ago when we got into sports talk radio, right when I got in, I thought, man, we need to be in with all these former athletes, and I need to cultivate relationships with former players. I'm talking about professional, and as high up as I can find that we can get access to. That's what I thought. I was 29 years old. I was given my first show, and I was wrong. I thought, man, we need to be around former NFL and NBA and MLB players that have gone off and come back and decided to live here or somewhere in this area. And what I realized is that's not what makes great sports talk radio. Now, if you get a Jeff Brantley, you get Todd Wade, Marcus Dupree, those guys, sometimes you find some really good stuff. But for the most part, we started doing all these events, and I'd meet these guys, and I realized, 7, 8 out of 10 times there wasn't a lot of depth there, and there wasn't a lot of self-awareness. Nothing against them, but they're in such a militaristic environment for so long in their lives. For a lot of them, it's very, very difficult once their playing days are taken from them at 27, 28, 30 years old. And even though those are the fortunate ones. All of us, I got to play K through 12. And let me say this. I loved competing and playing all the way through my high school, all the way through my senior year. And like you, I took away from so many of those experiences and lessons, right? Accountability and discipline and teamwork and failing and winning and losing, right? And pushing your body and pushing your mind in practice and in games. Those are all wonderful things that we can take today when we get hit in the mouth and you can parlay that into being successful in the grind of life and grit and so on. But it is so rare when you get a Tony Romo. Do you realize Tony Romo he's in the 1%? I know he doesn't have a ring, but when you have been the face for the Cowboys for over a decade, you're in the 1%. He has had dinner and played golf with the biggest CEOs and celebrities and actors and other people in his game, NBA stars, NFL stars, MLB, and we all know he's a great scratch golfer. But not just that. He's been to parties and vacations and everything else and dated Carrie Underwood 10 years ago, right, when she became famous and blah, blah, blah. And we all know what the number one position in the NFL is. It's quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. It's not quarterback of the New England Patriots, even though Tom Brady's the best player to ever play.
Right.
It's not the quarterback of the Chicago Bears, even though that's a big market. It's not the quarterback of the New York Giants. It's not the quarterback of the San Francisco 49ers. It's the QB of the Dallas Cowboys, the star. And so Tony's been that guy, and he has this press conference yesterday where it's raw and it's heartfelt and it's authentic. And this is what Tony had to say about his competitive fire.
If you think for a second that I don't want to be out there, then you've probably never felt the pure ecstasy of competing and winning. That hasn't left me. In fact, it may burn more now than ever. It's not always easy to watch. I think anybody who's been in this position understands that. But what is clear is that I was that kid once.
Romo calls a press conference. The press thinks that it's going to be a Q&A. There's one guy that tries to ask a question. He goes, hang on. He's very, very nice. You can tell that he has a relationship with all these guys. And he says, hang on. I don't even remember what his name was, but let's just say his name was Blake. He says, hang on, Blake. I'm here. I want to read this. I'm not going to take any questions. I need y'all to give me a few minutes to get this out. And then he says, This is what he says about how he will not become a distraction because Dak Prescott has played so well, and this looks to be Prescott's team.
I think you all know something magical is happening to our team. I'm not going to allow this situation to negatively affect Dak or this football team by becoming a constant distraction. I think Dak knows that I have his back, and I think I know that he has mine.
Wow. 1%er with self-awareness. Now, I think it was shrewd and calculated, but I think it was also heartfelt, authentic, and raw. We'll wrap it up with this before we go to the big board, okay? I thought this was powerful, especially as a parent. And I know I have a lot of parents listening, whether you got your 3-year-old in the back seat today or, you know, your son or daughter that's really coming into their own at 13 or 14 in their sports life or competitive life. This was Tony Romo's message for young players.
I can remember when I was a kid just starting out and wanting to be a part of something bigger than myself. For every high school kid out there or college player, there's greatness in being the kind of teammate who truly wants to be part of a team. Everyone wants to be the reason they're winning or losing. Every single one of us wants to be that person. But there are special moments that come from a shared commitment to play your role while doing it together. That's what you'll remember. Not your stats or your prestige, but the relationships and the achievement that you created through a group.
He was raised right. This didn't start last week, guys. This started when he was 5, 7, 9, 11, and 13 years old. That's Tony Romo. We'll drop more of it on the big board. I think it's a big story, one, because we're tied in with it in the state of Mississippi, because Dak Prescott's the one that was able to win the job once Romo went down. We're live in the BankPlus studio. We welcome you in on a Wednesday. Thanks for making us your sports and entertainment show of choice. The show is brought to you by RPT and Rick's Pro Truck and their Pro Coat Spray and Bedliners and their Fuel Off-Road Wheels at RPT I-55 South, Lakeland Drive, Flowood.
I'm a Romo